The San Francisco 49ers have recently received a series of exciting updates. And in this video, I've gathered all the key information about the team. While the flow might not be perfect, I've categorized the news to cover the past, present, and future of the 49ers. For those of you who follow the 49ers on a daily basis, it's definitely worth staying in the loop. I'm working on a project right now, and all you need to do at this point is subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm handling all the details, and honestly, it's turned out to be more challenging than I expected, especially since it's something new for me. I've been navigating through various rules and regulations, and the expectation is that the project will launch tomorrow. So, make sure to come back tomorrow to check out what I prepared for that video. But right now, let's dive into the news because there's been a significant amount of updates today, especially from Kyle Shanahan and Jed York. To begin with, I'm going to touch on a few observations that reflect some issues from the past that have impacted the 49ers. As you can see on the screen behind me, the team faced challenges with the offensive line, and one player who has been analyzed heavily during this offseason is Jake Brendel on the right. Let's take a look at what Kyle Shanahan had to say about him. I can tell you that many of you might not share his perspective, but I believe Jake stood out when evaluating the centers across the league. In several areas, I consider Jake to be among the best in pass protection. A lot of players struggle against defensive tackles, but I think Jake's skills in this aspect are as good as anyone else in the league. He's been a solid blocker for us. So, what do we learn from Kyle Shanahan? There's a wealth of news, so I won't delve into each point, but what we can gather so far is interesting. I believe Jake performs run blocking just as well as anyone else in the league and has proven to be a consistent player for us. Now, what insights can we draw from Kyle Shanahan's statements? There are plenty of updates, and I won't dwell on every single one of them, but a few key points deserve attention. First off, Shanahan is defending his player in a way that only a true coach would. He's supporting Jake, and that's something worth respecting. Criticism is sometimes necessary, but it doesn't always need to be public. There are situations where public criticism is appropriate, but more often than not, it's better handled privately. I agree with that approach. It shows that Shanahan is a coach who genuinely supports his player. While some are giving a lot of weight to this, I'd advise caution before jumping to conclusions. We only have Kyle Shanahan's public statements to go on. We don't know what has been discussed behind closed doors. One interesting point Shanahan mentioned is his slight preference for a player in terms of run protection. However, his confidence in that player's pass protection skills seems to be lower. The way this has been presented suggests that explanations might be prepared for this player's performance. Does Shanahan believe he's the best option available on the team right now? My gut tells me yes. There seems to be a belief that this player is better than others who've played in that role. But will the front office pursue a center as expected? The answer to that question seems to be no, as this matter will likely be addressed in free agency. No center was acquired during that period, so now the focus shifts to the draft. It seems unlikely that a center will be selected at this time, but there might be a target who can play multiple positions, such as a hybrid center guard. Either way, I don't expect the team to bring in a new center. It seems more likely that they'll stick with the current player, possibly with someone else added in the upcoming season. It will be important to keep an eye on how this situation unfolds. Some may disagree with this viewpoint, and that's understandable. No team is ever perfect. But when you look back at the offensive line's performance last year, it's clear how the team finished the season. Looking at the performance of the offensive line from last year, it's clear how they finished the season. They ended the year ranked 13th in the league, largely due to the contributions of a few key players. To start, one of the tackles played a significant role in boosting the overall offensive line grade. Additionally, a rookie impressed in his first season, and another player performed much better than he had the year before. This combination resulted in their solid ranking. There's no need to dive into all the specifics, but reflecting on the details could offer some interesting insights. Moving forward, Shanahan announced that a veteran kicker will be brought in to compete with the current one. There's a lot of support for the current kicker, especially from those close to him who have expressed confidence in his abilities. They've pointed out that they've seen him miss a tough field goal, only to bounce back with a series of successful kicks. So, can the current kicker recover? Absolutely. He has the potential to overcome these challenges. However, There's a concern that once a kicker starts to struggle, it can linger in his mind, leading to the fear of repeating the same mistakes. This is a common issue among kickers who go through rough patches, like the current kicker. That said, if the suggestions are true, there may be more depth to the struggles of the current kicker than it appears, especially as the season neared its end. The worry regarding players going through tough stretches, particularly in what we've seen lately, is valid. If it turns out that we're approaching the end of the season and the kicker's main difficulty can be traced to an injury sustained while trying to stand out on special teams, there's a chance he could perform well at the start of next season, making it seem as though everything had returned to normal, with the injury being the only complication. However, the reality is that the team is bringing in an experienced player, which was expected. From the beginning, it was predicted that the team would go in this direction. They don't intend to sign a new player or spend too much on acquisitions since they still have the current kicker on the roster, and they aren't willing to take that risk. With all the investment in him, it would be difficult to let him go. They're bringing in a veteran to challenge him, putting pressure on him to compete for his position, which adds a level of urgency. While this may not compare to the pressure felt during a game, it's reassuring to know that someone is being added to the roster. As for the previous situation, it was emphasized that there's been a significant overhaul on defense, with 4 key areas that need improvement. The team is reworking their run defense, identifying key players who will be crucial on the defensive line. However, they need to successfully draft new talent. They need to inject some youth into the roster and tweak their strategy a bit. The foundation is being built on fundamental principles, and the team is realizing just how much their run defense has been lacking, understanding that they're moving on from several important figures as part of this restructuring process. This transformation is vital, especially when it comes to improving the run defense, which was clearly the weakest link in the defensive line last season. Now, shifting our focus to the present, the situation is pretty clear as we're primarily focused on the quarterback. The team owner mentioned that the decision to invest in this quarterback was made around the middle of last season. He pointed out that paying for a quarterback who was clearly undervalued in his early years in the league comes with sacrifices in other areas, meaning several players will have to be let go because of this. While there's no refusal of contracts, all the personal talks with the quarterback have been positive. There's confidence that when he's ready, the deal will be finalized smoothly. It's interesting to note that he used the phrase, "when he's ready," placing the responsibility on the quarterback. Simply put, it's clear that the deal is still on the table, and it's up to the player to wrap it up. Some might speculate that he wants to be in the spotlight, seeking media attention and trying to leverage this for podcast appearances, but that seems somewhat exaggerated given his personality. It's believed that, in reality, this is the quarterback's team, and the responsibility is now in the hands of his agent, who, from the team's perspective, is responsible for moving things forward. The owner mentioned that he's a high-level quarterback who stands out, especially when considering the combination of his play with the coach and everything that's on the line. The expectation is that he'll remain with the team for the long haul. This is positive and not surprising, but we've heard similar statements before. Shanahan was asked if he was prepared for the possibility of a holdout by the quarterback, and his response revealed a lot. He expressed optimism that this wouldn't happen and admitted that the quarterback doesn't intend to take that route. No one wants that, but these discussions are happening between the representatives and our team, which takes a bit of the pressure off the quarterback. This is all about significant financial matters, and those things don't get resolved overnight. Still, he remains hopeful that a solution will be found, ideally without compromising field activities. Whether this gives him more peace of mind regarding the deal's completion is subjective. When listening to Jed York, I noticed a high level of confidence. If you watch the various videos online, it seems like he's quite certain that the deal will be finalized and that they're committed to compensating the player, especially since the decision was made last year. This ongoing negotiation feels like a process of exchange, likely centered around smaller details. I don't feel that they're as far apart as some have suggested, and my impression is that they've been engaged in these talks sooner than expected, particularly when compared to other players. So, I believe this is a favorable situation, though it's just my intuition. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In an unexpected twist to the NFL's ongoing drama, the San Francisco 49ers have reportedly set their sights on one of the league's most explosive and dynamic players, Justin Jefferson. The Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, known for rewriting record books, is now the centerpiece of trade rumors that could shake up the NFL landscape. With Jefferson's unmatched skills and recent milestones, could this be the boldest move of the 2024 offseason? Jefferson, only 25, has already established himself as one of the most dominant wide receivers in the history of the game. His record-breaking performances, including the most receiving yards in a player's first 5 seasons, have made him a household name. But after signing a monumental 4-year, $140 million contract extension with the Vikings in 2024, the question arises, can the 49ers, with their championship aspirations, truly pull off a move to bring him to the Bay Area? The 49ers, currently a powerhouse in the NFC, have been seeking to bolster their already high-octane offense. With playmakers like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, adding a star of Jefferson's caliber would transform an already potent offensive unit into one that could rival any in NFL history. Head coach Kyle Shanahan's offensive ingenuity, paired with Jefferson's unmatched ability to make game-changing plays, would undoubtedly make San Francisco an even more formidable force. However, pulling off a trade for Jefferson wouldn't come cheap. The Vikings would be reluctant to part with their star wideout, especially after securing him with a record-breaking contract. Yet, the 49ers' arsenal of draft picks and young talent could provide them with the necessary ammunition to make a competitive offer. As the 2024 season progresses, the question remains, will the 49ers be able to make a move that could shake up the balance of power in the NFC? If the deal does come to fruition, it will undoubtedly be a game-changer for both teams involved. The 49ers' offense would reach new heights, and Justin Jefferson's potential to rewrite history in a new environment would add another thrilling chapter to his already illustrious career. The NFL world will be watching closely to see if the San Francisco 49ers can pull off the unthinkable and add the league's most electrifying receiver to their roster. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.